My guest today is going to be Dorian Ross with Tai Chi Fit. He's going to first explain to us all about Tai Chi Fit, and then we're going to talk about the history of Tai Chi. So David, welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing well, thanks. Nice to be here.
Good to see you. So tell me, what is Tai Chi Fit?
Well, Tai Chi Fit is a Tai Chi based exercise program that is specially designed to fit into the typical fitness environments in the West, like sports clubs, fitness gyms, community centers, corporate wellness centers, senior centers, those kinds of places. I've been doing classical Tai Chi for more than 30 years, almost 35 years, and one of the challenges that we've had is that there is a real difference between who comes to a traditional Tai Chi class and what their expectations are, and who comes to a fitness center and what their expectations are, and how do you create a Tai Chi program for those people, for those environments. And I've been experimenting for a long time. We've been experimenting together for a long time, and only recently have we finally crafted the format that's really working, that allows people to get the essence of Tai Chi first time or any time without having to wait years and years to get it.
Okay. Before we go into all this, let's talk about you a little bit, because this is really interesting for me, because I've known you probably, I won't tell, but more years than I'm not going to tell you about. But it's been quite a long time you've been trying to break Tai Chi into the fitness field. And what I find interesting is when I met you 25 years or so ago, yoga wasn't part of the fitness forefront. No one was doing Pilates, and you came in and you were doing Tai Chi, and everyone was just kind of confused on how do I slow it down.
Right.
Because we were jumping up and down and screaming and yelling, and the music was 180 beats a minute, and you came in and you were like, now move very slowly.
Yeah.
And I saw the look on people's faces. They were just like, they didn't know how to slow down.
Right.
At this place, people have slowed down. So I see a real opening for your niche. But let's talk about how long you've been doing it. Talk about your struggles with trying to fit into the fitness business.
Well, I started Tai Chi, 35 years or so ago, and I actually started working in fitness right around the same time because my first Tai Chi taste was a life-changing experience. I mean, my first class, my first day of Tai Chi, literally I went home that night, changed where I was living, changed what I was eating, changed my major in college, just overnight. And one of the things that was so compelling to me is like, I don't want to have two lives. I don't want to have a life where I work, by day as a salesman and then go do Tai Chi in my other life. I wanted to do it all together. And the closest thing that I could find was fitness. And so, of course, my drift, my focus was on bringing what I love, my Tai Chi, into that fitness arena. And it has been challenging because of the structure of what fitness is like. Like you said, there's a lot of it that's still going on. It's 180 beats per minute, and no pain, no gain. And if you're not sweating, you're not doing, kind of thing. So how do we create something or bring something that keeps people engaged and entertained, that they find the value of what they're looking for? I mean, God bless them, they're paying money to try to do self-care, and I want to bring something to them that they will find value in. I personally know that Tai Chi is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but you can't tell somebody that. You have to let them find it out for themselves.
Yeah.
So a great portion of the struggle has been that Tai Chi classically is based around a set number of movements, a choreographed routine that's standardized. So it has, 10 moves or 24 moves or 108 moves, And then to learn it, what you're basically doing is learning all those moves, which means it has a definite beginning, middle, and end. And in order to take the class, you have to start at the beginning, go through the middle, and get to the end. And here's the thing about fitness clubs, you have 20 people that start out at the beginning, and you have 2 people that start at the end. And no fitness general manager is going to let you keep the class with 2 people in it.
Right, exactly.
So for years, we've kind of struggled with, all right, so how do we get around that, get past that? How do we let somebody take a class, then go away on vacation for a month, come back to class, and not miss a beat?
Right.
Right? So those are some of the challenges that we've had. And And it's like, Mark Twain said, how do you get to be a master captain on the riverboat? You hit every snag and run on every sandbar that there is, and then you're a master. So, I've made all the mistakes that I could possibly make and tried all the different variations of the class I could possibly try until finally we've come up with something that's really working.
So now you got a program that's going to work.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to seeing a little bit of the program. So later on in the show, we are going to do a few exercises from the program so we can get familiar with it. So can you tell me a little bit about the history of Tai Chi? Because I know it's vast and it's from a long time ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'll try to make this as compact as possible, the Reader's Digest version.
Okay.
So you can look at both history and fairy tale. There's lots of folklore about Tai
I like
Chi.
the fairy tale the
Like
best.
the fairy tale one. Okay. So there's a story about the theoretical, the mythological inventor of Tai Chi, a guy named Zhang Sanfeng. So Zhang Sanfeng is hanging out in a monastery at the top of a tall mountain. He's living in a place called Wudong Mountain with a bunch of Taoist monks. And, he checks in, he gets a room there, he's, on a retreat, so to speak. And he wakes up one morning and he hears this loud noise out in the courtyard outside his window. And I can really relate to this because living in California, every Sunday morning I get leaf blowers outside the window. And I'm like, ah! So
Not on Sunday.
Not on Sunday. That's exactly. So at the temple, really? So this is how I imagine Zhang Sanfeng. He wakes up and he's got all this noise out there. And he looks out his window, and in the courtyard below is a snake and a crane fighting. And the snake, is coiling around, and the crane is standing there, and the crane is trying to bite the snake. So his beak goes, bite, stab, stab. And the snake is like coiling around, going, oh, you missed me. Like, couldn't hit me. And then the snake is trying to strike the crane. So he reaches out and tries to bite him. And the crane gets up on one foot and goes, just feathers, man, you missed me. And Zhang Sanfeng is watching this whole thing, and he has this epiphany that he's seeing the dance of the balance of nature, that nature is both circular and coiling, and it's also linear and direct. But it is the combination of the two that is important to bring life forth. And so he creates, a dance based on the snake and the crane, and that dance is infused with martial arts and with philosophy and with health benefits, and it creates Tai Chi.
So is Tai Chi a martial art?
Tai Chi is a martial art. This is one of the unique things about Tai Chi. So, you see all these really lovely movements of something called play the pipa, which is like a guitar, like a lute, right? And so, that's so beautiful. It has such a lovely name, and sweeping. Well, this is like I'm breaking somebody's arm. This is a a joint lock to immobilize somebody and then kind of break the arm. Very spiritual. In a spiritual way. Well, what this does is it does two things. One is it provides, three things. Well, one thing, it's very effective. It's effective as a martial art, and so there. Historically, many people use it just in the same way they use other forms of kung fu or self-defense. The second thing is it provides a way for you to focus. So in the mind-body arts, we talk a lot about intention and mindfulness, which means that you have to have something to send the mind towards, like the Zen meditator who focuses on a mandala or a candle or a single point, right? So I focus on the practical application of the movement. Every time I do play the pipa, I can visualize another body, and here's where the elbow would go, and here's where the wrist would go, and here is the application of leverage, and so it gives me that focus. And finally, it also provides a metaphor. So as I play my Tai Chi every single day, the real struggle we have in life is not with somebody or something out there, but rather what's in here. And so I become a warrior, so that every step of my life, every motion in my world becomes a statement about who I am and what I believe in, and I am really committed to it, and not just kind of playing. Right.
So although it's a martial art, it's not a fighting martial art.
Depends on how you want to use it. There are plenty of people who use it as a fighting martial art.
Oh, really?
The most popular style of Tai Chi is called Yang style, and it was invented or developed by Mr. Yang, a guy named Yang Luchan. Now, Yang Luchan, at one time, if you look at pictures of him, by the way, he looks like this little skinny guy. But he traveled all around China competing in full contact martial arts tournaments. This is right around 1800, right around the end of the 18th century, beginning of the 19th century. And he was undefeated amongst all of the styles of Kung Fu. And he developed this nickname called Yang the Unbeatable. So it's definitely a martial art.
Oh, cool. So how does Tai Chi and Tai Fit fit together? I mean, where's the union of those two?
So the movements of Taijifit are based on all the movements of classical Tai Chi. And here's the thing. So at the essence of classical Tai Chi, even if you're using it for martial art, is the idea that when you are in complete harmony, in complete balance, there is a flow that you have in life, right? That you move through space, like water. That the interactions that you have in life have no struggle to them. So relationships have no struggle. Business and work has no struggle. You're just flowing, right? And even as a martial art, in order to use the techniques, you want to use it with softness overcoming hardness. They have this phrase called using 4 ounces to overcome 1,000 pounds.
Ah, nice.
So what's the essence of that? The essence of that is this idea of flow. So Taijifit is based using Tai Chi movements, leading people in a class into a state of flow so they can feel what that's like. And the longer that they stay in that state, the more their bodies and their minds and really their whole lives begin to change in that direction.
And Qigong and Tai Chi?
Qigong, I get this question asked all the time. So Qigong and Tai Chi are related in the same way that Kleenex and tissue are related. Right? So all Kleenex is tissue.
Right.
But not all tissue is Kleenex.
Right.
So all Tai Chi is Qigong, but not all Qigong is Tai Chi. So Qigong is sort of an umbrella term. It means energy work. And Tai Chi is a form of energy work. It just happens to be the form of energy work that is also a martial art.
Okay. I recently took a Qigong class, and the instructor explained that, that the Qigong system worked with the meridian system, and that it was like getting acupuncture. So would Tai Chi fit into that category?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So one of the things that people talk about, in fact, we do this little exercise at the end of every Taijifit class, where people talk about the feeling of being more energetic or feeling like they have more vigor at the end of the workout than they do at the beginning. Right? So most of the time you go to a workout, you go to a boot camp class, and you go, wow, I'm wiped out. In Tai Chi Fit, it's the opposite. You say, wow, I have more energy now than I did when I started. Still sweat, still moved, still worked out everything, but now I actually have got the acupuncture. The chi is flowing.
The Qigong class really surprised me because we barely moved, and I was sweating, and I'm thinking, this is incredible to me because I thought I had to make gross movements at least to sweat, but we were barely moving. But I really got my sweat on, so I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the feeling afterwards because what I loved about it is I felt great afterwards, but it wasn't just then. It lasted throughout the rest of the day. The rest of the day, I was just flowing. I was like, this is great. I hope Tai Chi Fit is going to do this for me because if I could feel like this every day, I'm in. So absolutely a wonderful thing. So I know you talked about one family of Tai Chi. I know there are five different families in Tai Chi. So tell me about them.
Well, I can't tell you a lot about all of them because I only practice 2 or 3 or 4, 2 or 3. So classically speaking, there are 5 major families of Tai Chi. And by families, it means that they are named after people. They're named after guys. All men. So the names of the 5 families are the Chen, the Yang. There's 2 Wu styles, Wu and Wu.
Wu and Wu?
Yes, it sounds different in Chinese. I just have to say. And written differently. And then the Sun style. So basically that means Mr. Chen, Mr. Yang, Mr. Wu,
Mr. Wu,
and Mr. Sun. Those are the guys. And historically, Chen style is thought to be the oldest. When you watch it, you can see the most obvious expression of the martial arts in it, a little bit deeper and more vigorous. And then the other styles are sort of derivative. Yang style came next, and then the Wu style studied from Mr. Yang, and then the Sun style looked at all of them, the Wu style and the Chen style and the Yang style, plus some other internal martial arts, Bagua and Xingyi, and other fancy Chinese words, and put them all together to create a new style. It's kind of the youngest of all the Tai Chi styles, about 100 or so years old, very, very young.
Okay, all right.
And Taijifit will be the sixth style.
The Ross style. You're going to have to find a Chinese name for that.
Lo. That's actually my Chinese name is Lo.
Lo?
So Lo style.
Okay, well, great. We're going to take a little break right here, and we're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere.